Hi to everybody. Welcome to Mindful Monday. There's some like bolsters, or maybe there's Holly's in the. That's going to be Holly. You found a spot. Okay, perfect. Welcome to Mindful Monday, and yeah, I'm really happy you all are here. You all made it, and thanks for dealing with what we're going through right now. Our growth. It's exciting, and last week was a lot. There's a lot of people here. It was a lot of energy. It was very exciting, and we are looking for a space that can hold more, and for now we will have a limitation just to make everything work. So thank you very much for being here and being accommodating. We are recording. The only people who will be in the shot are going to be myself and Ellie. Some other photos of the event will be taken and shared on social, but we're testing the recording because sometimes people are like, can't make it and are curious and want to see. And I do have a bigger vision related to how lonely I felt in the beginning and how once in a while I would see a speaker sharing to a live audience, and it was another way of feeling affirmed throughout my spiritual journey. And so it is kind of cool if there is an opportunity eventually for this to reach more people beyond even Austin and beyond this room. And there is a special coherent effect where even other people meditating at even other times, if they're meditating along with us, all that energy, there's sort of this healing, grounding, raising a vibration energy that can come in a special way when we extend who we invite in. So that's one thing we're playing with. And okay. August 22nd, there's going to be a social, all-inclusive metaphysical fair. It's going to be here at Casa. Still working on details for it. It's going to be super fun. If you are a healer, a reader, or in some way want to be part of it, to offer short readings to the attendees, I'll send it out in an email too, but there's an opportunity for you to get a lot of visibility and a lot of people to experience what it is that you do. So that's going to be really awesome. It's a flip on what I've seen metaphysical fairs be. That's highly community oriented, that puts the attendees first, so they get to experience the healings and like new modalities at not crazy price points if you're just trying to see like, am I even interested in this thing to begin with? So that's coming. And then I do have some sad news, but we're going to find a way. So Hal Jr. Did have a moment. So we're working on this, and I think I know who is responsible. I think the cabal does have some frustrations with how we're growing. So if some people want to have fun later, you might have seen some of the skit things I do on social that are a little silly. I was hoping that some people could record a very simple, just looking into the camera and saying, "For Hal Jr." And it'll be part of a longer video related to how we get Hal Jr. back and teach One-Eye Jack a lesson. So anyhow, those are the things. And now moving into the event of tonight, Mindful Mondays are about us, first and foremost, connecting and finding our people. And then secondly, experiencing group meditation. And then third, getting to learn something cool and new. Human design, I only learned about about a year ago now, maybe 9 months to a year ago. And it was the first time where all the astrology kind of stuff hit in a new way, in a more deep way. And the more I continue to learn, the more helpful it's been in my life. And Ellie is one of the most knowledgeable people in Austin that I've found within the human design world. So she's really helped me with some gems. If you ever get the opportunity to have her do a chart reading for you, it's quite special. And she's going to be sharing some stuff that's going to be helpful for us tonight. Okay. So with all that being said, what we're going to, we start with introductions. Okay, so if you've run your chart, we're going to break up into groups, and we're going to say our name. And on your chart, the first thing it says is your type. So for instance, my type's a projector. You might see generator, you might see manifesting generator, you might see reflector, you might see manifester. So you'll say your name, your type, and then your profile. And your profile will have 2 numbers, but it will also say something about those numbers. So for instance, I'm a 2-5, which is a hermit heretic. So what I'll do is I'll say my name. I'll say, hey, my name's Chris. I'm a projector, and it says I'm a hermit heretic. And then what I'm going to do is, and then the next person will go. And so you'll go around the circle. And if you finish ahead of time, you all can just kind of say what you think of looking at this chart with whatever you know right now. So you could just be like, I don't know, there's some colors, there's some lines, it looks kind of weird, or maybe you know more. So we're just kind of playing intuitively. What's your question?
What was the app?
The app is Neutrino Design, and I can share it with you in just a second. So that's the task. We'll put about 10 minutes on the clock, and then we'll come back together for an opening meditation. Sound good? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So group over here, we'll have kind of, how many are in this group? We'll have about 8 to 10 over here. So maybe Sherry, you can kind of orient to here. This group, you all can group. That's a big group. So maybe this side. You all can work it out. There's going to be like 10 over here. Maybe Danielle and Kajal come over on this side. And then you all in the back kind of group up together. And Ellie and I will be cruising if you have any questions for us. So,
and
cool.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
One thing I want to say about your chart, if you know nothing about human design, what's incredible about this system is that it's a somatic system. So if you have just initial impressions, you may not know anything about what these centers are, what the white, the color, all that kind of stuff, but just what is your initial intuitive impression somatically of what's going on in your chart? That's something that you can share with somebody else. It doesn't have to have any other context than that, so it's kind of fun.
Cool. All right, go forth, and in about 10 minutes, we'll come back together. All right, so coming back together, who noticed patterns, like overlap with, you had commonalities with certain people? I know we had some people with the exact same birthday, and a lot of their chart was pretty similar. Different, yeah, born different places and different times, but
exact same year,
same year, same day, pretty wild. Yeah, no, what did you notice?
All of our manifesting generators literally are right here on the couch.
On the couch.
A lot of manifesting generators. There you go. Okay, sweet. Cool. Did anybody else know anything, notice anything interesting before we dive in? All right, well, we've got a lot more to explore. Then, kind of fun, though, to see all these interesting overlaps, too. And as you get more familiar, you'll even kind of be able to pin people's profiles ahead of time. You might be able to guess their type ahead of time. It can be pretty fun. So we'll start with a brief grounding meditation. I like that, to just have us drop in. And I was deciding whether to do it at the beginning or the end. I wanted us to tap into, help Casa kind of clear the energy for us. We've really had a great opportunity to be here. I also want to help them call in who's going to be next in their space, as we also tune into where our next space is going to be for this group. So I feel like that would be fun for us to do really quickly in the beginning, and you'll get a sense of what I actually do when I do a business blessing. So it's a special way where I kind of clear. I imagine that each of the corners of the room go down a giant grounding cord, just like we set our grounding cord for ourselves. And then I actually vortex the energy as if there's going to be a giant spotlight that kind of calls in and calls out energetically to the right person for the space, or the right people for the space. So we're going to have some fun with that. You don't have to follow along, but if you like, kind of all of our coherent thought about it will be useful. And I'll also invite us to tune into what would really feel good for us in a space, for you in a space particularly. And then that kind of thought energy will find its own way of moving us to a beautiful place to land in the future. So that's the plan for the meditation, and all that will happen in about 12 minutes. So somewhere in there. All right, so you can do and a grounding cord, what I learned in my school is a lot of us were kind of operating, moving through the world a little bit untethered. And some people find it useful to go to nature. Others find it useful to take their shoes off on the beach and kind of like feel into that again. And energetically, we can also come back to center. And in my school, we would imagine that there was the center of Earth down here, and we're up here, and that we drop this energetic tube or cord that connects us in with the center, and then everything that's in our space, that's in our field, that isn't ours to hold on to, just gets to move down that grounding cord. Energy, gravity pulls it out, and we get to be just more sovereign and clear in our space again. So I'll guide you through that piece of it. I just like to give it for the conscious mind ahead of time. So go ahead and find a way of getting comfortable with yourselves now. For many, it's going to be useful to close the eyes. Adjust what needs to be adjusted. And then for many, it's also going to be helpful to breathe a little bit more deeply, a little bit more lower in the belly. You can allow that belly button moving in and out to help signal that you're breathing a little more deeply. And this can be a way of even releasing anxiety and stress, just the slower, deeper breath alone. And then you can tune into the root of your spine there, between the hips. And imagine that there's a ball of energy there. And that energetic ball, again, it's fine if you notice it with sort of your seeing sense, your inner eye. If you notice it with a felt sense, if you just know it's there, or if it's all imagination, all of it's fine. So there's that ball of energy at the root, and it begins to expand outwards in all directions. It expands out to the width of your hips, and then it'll continue to expand out to about your fingertips in all directions, about an arm's width, so that you're seated or inside, in whatever way you're oriented right now, inside this hollow energetic sphere of light. This defines your energetic boundaries. Some would call this your aura. Some people might notice a color to it right now, or a feeling, or a temperature. It might make a sound, or vibrate, or move. You don't need to notice any of that either. And then the lower half of this hollow energetic sphere can begin to extend downwards. So it moves from being this hollow energetic sphere to a hollow energetic tube of light, hollow energetic cylinder. And that bottom half moves down through the floor. And then it's going to move through the earth. And then it moves down through those different layers of the earth, down past the tree roots, past where the sea floor ends, till it reaches the center of the earth. And when this hollow energetic tube connects in with the center of the earth, gravity, just like flipping on a switch, will work for you to pull from your space any dense energy that's within your field, within your personal space, that doesn't belong to you. So the emotions of others, the thoughts of others, the feelings, the vibrations of others, the energy, whatever way it shows up in your life. Those projections and opinions others place on you, maybe even unknowingly, that we just pick up being a human in this world. And for many, their space will feel a little bit more clear. They might feel a little bit more light. I've heard a lot of people talk about the chest area in some way, like there's a weight that's released. And notice what's true for you. Allow gravity to pull out of your head area, anything that's in there that doesn't belong, that isn't yours. Voices of previous parents or siblings or whatever. Notice your central column becoming more clear, more open. This tends to be one of the fastest ways for us to be more clear and balanced in our everyday life. And then let's call back even more of your energy. And one way of doing this is we can imagine that there's a golden sun above our head, and we write our name in black magnetic ink. The sun is our life force in this life. And it can call back your life force wherever it's been left, across space, across time, with other people. And just observe or allow or know that your energy returns to this golden sun above your head. And in a special way, there's like an inner knowing that's coming, an inner recognition that's also part of this golden sun, as you get to know yourself in deeper ways even tonight. And then this golden sun cracks open over your head, and like an egg cracks and there's a yolk inside, inside is this golden honey-like substance that's representing your energy with your energetic signature for this lifetime. And that golden liquid honey moves down until it makes contact with the crown of your head, and then the sides and the front and the back of the head. Some of that energy moves inwards, healing and really resetting you back to your unique frequency. That energy continues to move downwards to the neck, the shoulders, the arm channels. Some of it moves out the hands. Other energy moves down the front and back torso and the sides. Moves down the hips, the groin, the waist. And then continues to move down the legs. And of course, that energy also moves inwards. And any excess can move down and out the grounding cord. And that golden sun can set down through your space and down the grounding cord. And wherever your attention is right now, you've already moved a good amount of energy. So if that feels like enough, just sit in that for now. And those who are open to it, I'd invite you to expand your awareness to the edges of the room right now. What's that like? And how wonderful is it to be in this space, this very comfortable, curated space where I think we really feel at home. And I'm tuning into my heart center and just breathing in some appreciation for the space, for the walls, for the roof, for the floor, and all the furniture, and the stewards, the people who take care of this space as well. And then it can be helpful for a space to even be back in more of its own energy. So what I'm tuning into is imagining that there is now a grounding cord for the space. So there's sort of a block grounding cord, a cubical rectangular grounding cord that also connects in with the center. And all the energy in this space that doesn't belong to the room, rooms just pick up the energy of people passing, that can be cleared, that it can begin to come back to its true essence, to how it wishes to be in this life. And the way I do this is I also imagine the corners of the room sort of folding over and down into the grounding cord. And then overhead, instead of a golden sun, is a golden room. And this room's energy is being called back to it. And it cracks open just like an egg. And this room is flooded with golden energy just for it, bringing it back into present time. Maybe you imagine all the furniture in here being coated in gold, the walls coated in gold, the ceiling, the floor coated in gold. And then that cracked room of sorts can set down through the grounding cord as well. And then I'm imagining swirling some energy above the space. Energy from source. Calling in exactly who's right for it. And I'm just sort of intending, may the right people find this space that honor it and that it can support. And then I send it up to source. Send it up above. And there's more we can do, but we'll leave it at that for now. And then lastly, again, thank you for doing the energetic gymnastics tonight. And lastly, tune into what really calls you here. If you've come to Mindful Monday more than once, why do you come? And if Mindful Monday were at a 5 or a 6 right now on a scale of 10, what would it feel like for it to be at a 10 for you? Tune into that energy. Or maybe a 7 or 8 if that's easier. I wonder what would really kind of enhance it for you, that you're who it's for. And I'm just imagining that all of our thought is kind of accumulating above our head. And that there's someone far wiser than me collecting the information and saying, okay, let's bring this in. And at the right time, we'll find the space. And even us just putting some mental energy into it tonight, I'm so thankful for. And for now, we can release that, goes into the ether, gets delivered where it needs to go. And you can just bring some appreciation in for yourself for being here tonight and for the fun and excitement we're about to have. And whenever it feels right, you can begin to wiggle fingers, toes, bring awareness into the room. And we'll pass it over to the wisest of the wise, Ellie. Thanks for playing, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Chris. The wisest of the wise. We'll see. Anyway, so yes, I'm Ellie. I'm a 5'2" splenic projector. I'll give you a little bit of background about how I got into human design, why I'm obsessed with it, and why I keep doing it and teaching it and giving readings and all of that stuff. I found human design from a podcast, of all things. It was deep in the pandemic, 2020, alone, by myself, in my house, bored. And I came across the little description of this podcast, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, piqued my interest. Listened to it, went to go look up my chart, and had no context for what it was telling me. I was like, okay, what's a projector? What's a vibe? Like, none of it made sense to me. It was a completely different language. And I went and just started deep diving into my chart as much as I could find. And it was just so profound what I was learning about myself. It was able to verbalize things that I had never had verbalized to me before, that I was experiencing, but didn't have language to quite, put it into a concept in my mind even. Having these different types and these roles that you play and all of this different kind of stuff. So anyway, I just, I've been obsessed ever since. And anyway, so I kind of have a feeling that most people here, maybe have just been getting into human design, or maybe tonight is the first time that you've really come across it. Can a raise of hands of, is this the first time that you're learning about it or experiencing it, or
Sweet.
maybe just a little bit of knowledge, kind of, sort of? Yeah, okay. So
why the term human design? Why that term?
that's a great question. I don't have that answer for you. So
It sounds
it's
like God is doing human design. That was my first thought.
yeah. So human design came from this man named Ra Uruhu. He had an experience in 1987 where basically for 8 days he was in suspended animation and was downloaded this system within that 8 days. So it was, his description of it is very horrifying. But anyway, so basically over the next, I think he lived another like 30, 35 years, he was unraveling and kind of putting it into a system that other people could benefit from and understand and all of that. It's called the science of differentiation, is another way to kind of explain it. But it is a synthesis of 4 ancient systems plus quantum physics. So we have the Western astrology, Kabbalah tree of life, Chinese I Ching, and what's the other one? The chakra system. And then it comes together with quantum physics. So that's where like the neutrino stream comes into it, where it's, giving information on the day that you were born. So I'll go into some of the basics of how a chart is formed. Would that be helpful and interesting for people to learn, and why you are the type that you are? Okay, we'll do a little bit of like foundational kind of basic stuff, because I think just based on hands raised, that might be really helpful for some people to know and understand before we get into, because the plan for tonight was to go into kind of some relationship kind of stuff with human design. And I'm realizing if you don't pay for neutrino design, you have to like sign up for a trial to add another person's chart in there. I did not realize that. So
well, there's a trial. It's 3 days, and they can cancel. It's,
so you can sign up for the trial if you want to do that, and then cancel it if you don't want to pay for it. It's, I think, $37 a year. Totally worth it. It is the best app you're going to find for any human design information. So I highly recommend continuing with it if you are going to sign up with that or continue it. Anyway, so if you do want to do what we're going to do later, some like composite charts where you can kind of see how you interact with another person energetically within your chart, you would sign up for the free trial and decide from then if you want to continue with it or not. Okay.
And only one person in the group has to have the thing, right? Because the other person.
Yeah, so, that's true. So only one person. If like,
we'll figure it out.
Pair up. Yeah, only one person.
We're gonna make this work.
Yeah,
we'll make it work. We'll
We're
make
gonna
it work.
figure out how to do this.
And
but
can you explain what this is? Just because some people can't see it, so we'll just.
Yeah. Can I turn it? Is it turnable?
Yeah, it is turnable. Like it's a.
From back here.
Here, I'll get behind and turn it.
You can be Vanna White for me.
So there we go.
So I kind of just rudimentary chart up here of.
It is on your phone.
It is on your phone, yeah, if you downloaded. But I'm gonna explain some things up here that is not as useful, like pointing out on my phone how to do that. So anyway. So a couple of things. If you have any questions, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions that come up. It's a very complex system. You're not going to understand it all tonight, I promise you. Right. If you get one bit of information that is helpful for you tonight, that's a win, okay? It takes years and years and years, honestly, to understand the system. That's why I've been studying it for so long. So keep your questions maybe to the end of each section that we do. I'm gonna break it up into 3 different sections. So, yes, is that helpful? Okay.
Thumbs up. Are we all on board? Yeah. All right. Sweet. Cool. Everyone's on board. Yeah.
Okay.
I like quantum.
Okay. Good. All right. So what I'm gonna start with is kind of understanding why your chart is defined or undefined the way that it is. So everybody's chart, unless you're born oddly very closely to each other, is going to be pretty different from each other, right? The colored in part, where that comes from. So in neutrino design, it makes it really easy. The black side, so the gates that are colored in black on your chart, is the personality side. So that is the calculation from the moment that you were born, all right? So this is traditionally like your birth time, what you would see in astrology. That's where you would have like, oh, I'm a Libra sun, Leo moon, all that kind of stuff. The red gates on the red side, that is a calculation from 88 days prior to your birth. So this is your design side. This is your vehicle side. This is your unconscious side. It is an energy in you that you are not fully aware of, okay? So the black is conscious. You are aware of it. It is your personality side, who you think you are, your mind, your psyche, all of that kind of stuff. And then the red is the unconscious. And so the two of those calculations together form your chart, form the third thing that comes together that creates like the synthesis between the two, okay? So on each, oh my God, I have too many things in my hands. All right, so the personality side has 13 activations, and the design side has 13 activations. So it's your sun, earth. I don't know if I want to write all this really, but sun, earth.
You probably don't need to go like super, like,
Too in depth.
Yeah.
We'll keep it, but anyway, and then your nodes, north node, south node, moon, and then all the planets. Okay, so that's 13 on that side, and then the design side is same thing, but 88 days prior to your birth. So those come together and form definition. So what forms definition in your chart? When you have a center colored in, that means you have it defined. That means you have consistent access to that energy. Okay, so each center has a different purpose or a different energy behind it, right? Oh God. What am I doing? So we have the head at the very top, ajna, throat center, G center, ego, solar plexus, I'm just going to put SP, sacral, root down here at the bottom, and spleen. So it's a little different than the traditional seven-centered chakra system, okay? There was a mutation that happened. We won't go into it. Anyway, so when you have the way that...
Just reiterate the central axis again.
Sure, yeah, it's head, ajna, throat, G center, sacral, and root down there. Over here to the side is the spleen. Other side is the solar plexus, this is the emotional center, and then this little triangle here is the ego, will, or heart.
Right now, the center axis.
What's that?
There's only 5 now. the center axis.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
Yep. So with these activations on either side, they correlate to gates that are in your chart. So the gates are like, you might have a hanging gate coming off the throat, might have, these kind of gates. They come from the activations of the planets on the moment you were born. It goes into a whole thing. It's on the wheel. There's a wheel.
So why don't you check if they are recognizing the centers that are defined and not just on their chart, and then
Yeah.
also if they see the gates.
Yes.
If they,
So do you see the colored in centers in your chart? And you see what's white in your chart? You see the gates that are defined in your chart colored in, right? You have some hanging gates, and then you have some channels. Are two gates coming together to form a channel. That channel is what creates color definition in your chart. That's what creates a defined center in your chart. If you don't have a channel going to a center, it's going to stay white or open, undefined. Okay?
What's the difference between a gate and a channel?
A gate is just like, there could be like a hanging gate, so two gates coming together form a channel.
So
Yeah.
when the colors go halfway.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be the same color, but this is when it's.
so like
okay.
halfway is a gate, and then combined is a channel.
Yes.
And a channel is kind of like a superpower.
Yeah. So it's what you have consistent energy, what you have consistent access to. Yes. So what you have colored in is what you have. This is going to get a little complex. So the centers that you have colored in is what you have consistent access to, those energies. So like, say for instance, I have my spleen and my root defined. I have consistent access to my splenic awareness, so intuitive, primal, instinctual awareness of survival. And then I have my root defined. Those are my only two defined centers. I have consistent access to the pressure to do things, okay? It's a motor. So that definition is what I always have. That's in my natal chart. We're not gonna go into, but I have hanging gates coming off of other centers that are undefined. So I have inconsistent access to those gates. But the white, so The colored areas is where you are broadcasting out energy to others. So it's kind of like a radio frequency. You have a particular frequency with that center. It is consistent and you're always putting it out. The white centers that you have in your chart is where you're taking energy in from other people. You're absorbing and amplifying that energy of other people's centers, or if you want to go into the transits. Huh?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so the colored centers that you have in your chart is broadcasting. So it's putting out a particular frequency. The white that you have in your chart is where you're taking in that frequency from other people, okay? So it's where you're receptive. You absorb and amplify the energy from other people in those white undefined centers. Does that make sense? Is that, okay, we're gelling, we're cool. Okay. So depending on the type of definition you have and the type of centers you have will dictate what type you are, okay? So if somebody has a defined sacral down here, okay? Everybody that has a defined sacral is either a generator or manifesting generator, because that's what makes you a generator or manifesting generator, is to have a defined sacral. Defined sacral center is the life force energy. It's kind of like the mitochondria of the cell. It's the powerhouse of the cell. It's the consistent energy to build and to just have consistent energy. If that is undefined, you're considered what's called a non-sacral. So you have inconsistent access to that life force energy.
Let's see how many generators are
Yeah,
manifestors are in the room. Manifesting generators.
So who in here is a generator or manifesting generator, has a defined sacral?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So generator types are 70% of the population. It is the most, so you can kind of say like maybe generators are 35%, manifesting generators are the other 35%. The differentiation between a generator and a manifesting generator, so both have a defined sacral. A manifesting generator has so these 4 centers right here, so the sacral, root, solar plexus, and ego are called motors. So they have a particular kind of energy that they put out. If one of those 4 motors is connected to the throat, either directly or indirectly, then you have manifesting potential, okay? So for a manifesting generator, they have their sacral defined, and then they have a motor connected to the throat, okay? So that's a little bit of the differentiation. Generators just have their sacral defined. They do not have a motor to the throat. So it's a little bit of subtlety there. If you have,
He had a question, but we may want to wait a sec.
Okay. Question?
What's your question?
Oh, yeah, so what is the motor, like what does it do?
Oh, cool.
Okay. So, I don't know if I want to go too deep into that
Let's
just
put a
yet.
pin in, we'll put a
Yeah,
pin in
we'll
it
put
for
a pin
now.
in that. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I just want to go over how type is created right now, and then we'll get to it. So, if you have your sacral undefined, but you have a motor to the throat, either directly or indirectly connected, that means you are a manifester. Different than a manifesting generator. A manifester is non-sacral, okay? But they have a motor connected to the throat. So they have energy that is connected to the throat. Throat is the manifestation center. Everything, all the energy is trying to get to the throat, okay? So it's trying to bring energy into form. That answers a little bit of your question.
So who is a manifester?
I think we have, yep.
Wow.
We've got,
Okay,
yeah. So
cool.
But do you have, does it say in your app if you're a manifester?
No, it says I'm projecting.
You're a what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a different thing. Not a manifester. So manifestors are 9% of the population. Very few people are actually manifestors, okay? So if you have an undefined sacral and you don't have a motor connected to the throat, that means you're a projector. You are a non-energy type. So generators, manifesting generators, and manifestors are energy types. Projectors and reflectors are non-energy types, okay? So undefined sacral and no motor connected to the throat. So I'm a projector. Do we have quite a few other projectors? Yep.
Cool.
So projectors are 23% of the population, right? So a little bit less. All right. If you have none of your centers defined, they're all 9 white, that means you're a reflector. Reflectors are only 1% of the population. Do we have any reflectors here? 9
No.
undefined white centers?
No.
Yeah, it's very rare to come across them. It's really fun when you do. What?
I met one last week.
Yeah, yeah. To me, they're like just aliens. I'm like, I don't know how to, Anyway, so, and they have their whole different process. So your type informs your strategy of how you move through the world. So I don't know how deep I want to go into this, but anyway, depending on your definition and all of that, tells you your type, tells you your strategy of how to move through the world, and then it also informs your authority. So the center that you make decisions from, or how you make decisions in the world. So there's, I think, 7 different authorities that you can potentially have. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 different authorities that you can have based on either your definition or your type or any of that kind of stuff, okay? So ultimately what human design is here to do is to take the decision-making authority. Most people try to make decisions from their mind, right? Like, oh, this makes the most logical sense. I'm going to talk myself through this. My mind knows all, and I'm going to make a decision from that place, all right? Human design is here to move your decision-making authority, move it from your mind and into your body, into your body's intelligence, into your intuitive gut intuition or whatever type of authority that you have. So that's ultimately what it is here to do. It is helping you get in touch with your somatic intelligence, right? And move, so right now, I'm using my mind as an external authority, right? That's what it's here to do. It's here to process information. It's not here to be a decision-making force in your life, even for mental projectors, which sounds like a contradiction, but even for mental projectors, they're not here to make decisions from their minds, okay? So, do I want to go any deeper in that? Are there any questions? That's kind of just the foundation
It could be.
part of that, yeah.
It could be cool for them.
Non-energy type.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what-
Great question.
Say that again?
What is the difference between non-energy types and energy?
Yeah, so energy types are the generators, manifesting generators, and manifestors. So they're the ones that, and the manifestor one is a little weird because it is non-sacral, so they do not have consistent access to that life force energy, but they are here to use their energy to do, okay? So there's the doers, which are the energy types, and then there are the non-doers, which are the non-energy types, so the projectors and the reflectors. So what projectors and reflectors are here to do or not do, but their role here is to be that external authority from their the way that they see, the way that they guide, not necessarily their physical output, which, you know, in the US it's like hustle, 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 do, work, 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 make that money. But for projectors and reflectors, it's like people are here to use you as a resource for your mind and your guidance and your that kind of authority, if that makes sense. So the energy types are here to use their energy to manifest, to build, to do, to make things, to be creative, and not necessarily that non-energy types can't do that, but it's understanding your energy well enough to know when is the right timing for you to do those kind of things. And really, our greatest gifts is coming from our guidance and our minds and, you know, tapping into the energy of others and how guiding them on how to use their energy correctly. So, does that answer your question? Okay. Any other kind of Yep.
I might be jumping ahead here, but can't we evolve and open up other centers? Can we close centers?
No.
accidentally?
Not in human design. So there's this concept in human design called no choice. You were born with what you're born with. And it's not necessary. So the goal isn't really to change anything. It's to change your perception of it, right? I have a very open chart. When I first saw it, I was like, God, that looks so vulnerable. So vulnerable. I don't want to live in the world that way. Like, I would much rather be like stronger, well-defined, know who I am, know where I'm going. But, you know, the wisdom that comes from all of that is to be flexible and open and surprised by life. That's the beauty of it, you know? And so your undefined centers, while they can take in a lot of what's called like not self kind of energy, like you can have mental fixations in those open centers. So say, for instance, if you have an open solar plexus like I do, for a long time, that's what would be called like an empath. So taking in the emotional energy of other people, right? And identifying it as your own, right? Who here has done that before? And realizing that functioning in that way was not healthy and working for me, right? Like trying to manage other people's emotions, taking on others' shit, basically. And so the wisdom that came from that was learning my boundaries and learning like what is mine, what is not mine, how to have a healthy emotional landscape within myself, and understanding where those emotions were coming from, either within the transits or with another person. And so your undefined centers are where you gain wisdom. So they'll always be undefined or open, and your defined centers in your natal chart, right? It can shift and change based on transits and who you're in relationships with, okay? So that's kind of what we're gonna get into, not the transits, because that's really fucking complicated to talk about.
Just say transits in like another way. It's just where the stars are.
Yeah, where the planetary transits are. So like where the planets are based on where they're traversing through the sky, kind of thing. Yeah.
That's even complicated in astrology, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what kind of the Gene Keys does?
Gene Keys is really similar-ish to human design. So Ra Uru Hu, that was the founder, I guess, of human design, one of his students was Richard Rudd. And Richard Rudd kind of had a similar, I won't say anywhere close to the experience necessarily that Ra had, but he definitely had some downloads about specifically the I Ching. So he has his own system that he kind of gets into. He uses similar kind of hexagram terminology because the gates, the 64 gates, comes from the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. So it's the, 5,000 years, 3,000 years of that kind of energy that he's bringing into it too. I never really got in as much to Gene Keys, but I respect Richard Rudd.
Transits every week.
Yeah.
So it's like the transit.
Yeah, transits, I mean, as you get deeper into your experiment with human design, I have gotten much more involved in the transits and understanding them because I spend a lot of time alone. So the transits have a tendency to really affect me, and I can understand what's happening to me in the moment. And I'm like, oh, that's why, Saturn is in gate 55 right now. That's what's going on. So in those moments, I temporarily have access to that emotional energy. So say, for instance, in the transits, if it's defining my solar plexus, I might be more emotional than I usually am based on the planetary transits and what is defining in my chart. So my natal chart is always going to be my natal chart, right? But things shift and change and morph based on transits and relationships that you're in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And
Okay.
did you have a question?
Yes, I did have a question. So you said that we should not make decisions from our mind,
Oh yeah.
but rather somatically. And so depending on the type we are, how are we, so if I'm, for example, a manifesting generator, how am I supposed to somatically make things?
Yeah, so great question. Your authority, your inner authority, is based on what you have defined, okay? What centers you have defined. So with generators and manifesting generators, every type has a strategy that is helpful and useful to maneuver through life, okay? So for generators and manifesting generators, their strategy is to wait to respond. Let that land for a second. Wait to respond.
Generators
And manifesting generators. Yes, those two. So manifesting generators slightly different. It's like wait to respond and then inform when you are initiating something. But ultimately, it is wait to respond. So often, almost every type wants to be a manifester. They want to initiate everything, right? It's like, my mind has made this up, I'm going to do this thing, right? So in order to wait to respond, you're waiting to respond to external stimulus, okay? It's not something that's coming from your mind, a mental idea that you have that this thing is going to work out for me. It is so, and it sounds very simple. It is not easy, okay? It's a simple idea, but it's not easy. So when you're waiting to respond, what you're waiting to respond to and what you're tapping into is your sacral response. The gut instinct that you have that's like either there's an opening within you, an energetic opening. So for generators and manifesting generators, their aura is open and enveloping. They're always magnetizing things to them. There's always things coming to you. That's why it can be a challenge that if you wait to respond before initiating something, you've convinced yourself, oh, nothing's gonna come to me if I don't make it happen. But your aura is so magnetic, things are coming to you all the time. And you just have to wait to respond to those things that are coming into your, your aura, your purview, whatever. So,
Hey, how about you hit on the other two types that are here quickly, and then let's do something that's a little
interactive. Yeah, got it. So the strategies, and there's a little nuance too with that. Manifesting generators and generators can also be emotional, and that adds a level of complexity to that response. But we'll get into that.
It sounds like this wait for response. It's the same thing I have. Wait for invitation.
Very
It's like
different.
a dilemma.
Very different. So we'll talk about that. So for projectors, our strategy is to, and I'm gonna extrapolate onto just the wait for the invitation. I'm gonna say wait for recognition and invitation, okay? The recognition is equally as important as the invitation. So what projectors are here to do is to wait for someone to recognize you for whatever gifts, whatever insights, whatever talents you have, and they're going to invite you into maybe whatever they're building. Maybe it's a generator that's building some kind of new business or something like that. And they recognize something in that projector that they need for their business, some kind of system maybe that a projector has mastered, something that would help the energy of that business be more efficient, because that's what projectors are here to do. Because they have such little energy, they're here to maximize and make efficient the energy that they do have. So they have developed systems for themselves in order to do that. So waiting for that recognition and then the invitation into something that is happening or something that's being built or whatever it is. Yeah,
So if
question.
you're waiting for 30 years, then what?
Quite possibly. This is, yeah, so this is going into kind of the dilemma that projectors can come across. And, that's a challenge.
Can I say one thing on that?
Yeah.
So I do have a philosophy on that as a projector for the wait for the invitation. When I start focusing on the mirror principle in reality creation, is the idea that if we also extend invitations that are in alignment with us, then others will extend invitations to us. So I wouldn't say just go ahead and throw out invitations randomly, but that's what I've seen actually work very well for me in receiving invitations.
Yes. Yeah. So based on human design, projectors can invite other projectors and reflectors, They cannot invite generators and manifesting generators and manifestors.
Interesting. Okay.
Just gonna put that out there.
Got you.
So,
What does invite mean?
so it can be like a formal invitation, like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I see that you're really good at this thing. I really need that thing. Do you want to come in and help us do this other thing? And it's like, yeah. Or, you could say no. It can also be an energetic thing. I've noticed in my experiment that I can really sense when I'm invited into somebody's aura and when I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be a really hard pill to swallow, but it's protecting you ultimately as a projector. It's protecting your energy. If you continue to try to push in with somebody that doesn't see you, doesn't recognize you, then you're just giving away what little energy you have and becoming bitter as fuck. Yeah, because you just are like, please see me, please recognize me, please invite me in. And if they aren't doing any of those things, go in a different direction. Please go in a different direction, because you are just wasting your time and energy. It's a protective mechanism is what it is. It's protecting your energy. It's protecting how you see yourself and how others see you. I see a hand.
What about manifesting?
Yeah.
Yep. So manifestors, are you a manifester? You're initiating. So for manifestors are here to inform. So manifestors are the ones that are here to initiate. They, to a certain extent, some people say that they're here to wait for that creative initiation impulse within them. But whatever it is that you're initiating to do, inform others that it's going to impact. Because manifestors have such a big, dense, impactful aura. They just do. They just like plow on through and just do the thing, and they're like, get out of my way. I have this thing that I want to make happen, so I'm just gonna move everybody out of my way. But if it is impacting the people that are around you, just inform them. Hey, I'm doing this thing. Please move aside. However that looks to you, in a
Speaking up.
yeah, in a socially nice way. Don't hurt anybody's feelings, but just be like direct. And what is helpful for a manifestor as well is to be informed by others. They don't like bullshit. They don't like just tell me what it is.
Manifestors?
Yeah, so they
don't
like to
get
be
ghosted.
they like to be informed as well, right? So this is something that's a little different. So if, say, for instance, a projector has a relationship with a manifestor, there should be an open invitation for that projector to inform the manifestor, whatever it is that's going on. Like, hey, I'm doing this thing, blah, 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 whatever. Manifestor's like, no bullshit, point blank, just get to it.
You see manifestors follow their intuition.
What, hey, what was?
What would you say manifestors follow their intuition?
So it just depends on your authority. Manifestors can have 3 different types of authority. So again, we're just talking about type and strategy. Authority is a different thing. Authority is your decision-making center, where you make decisions from. So when you respond to something, it's your sacral gut instinct. If you have an emotional center defined as a generator or manifesting generator, there's another process that goes along with that. If you're a splenic projector, so I'm a splenic projector, my spleen is defined. When I get that recognition and invitation, my spleen, like that intuitive hit that I have, that knowing that I have within myself, that is going to tell me yes or no. And it's very spontaneous, it's very quick. You might miss it, because I certainly have. So it gets a little bit more nuanced beyond just type and strategy. You get into authority, but is that answering question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Am I what?
For a reflector, I know we don't have any here, but their strategy is to wait a lunar cycle. So be glad you're not a reflector, because that's waiting 28 and a half days. Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions before we move on into something more fun and interactive?
Well,
and
ask if
just-
that resonated. Like,
Yeah. Did that?
How can you find out what somebody else's type is just by looking at it?
It depends on their definition, what centers they have defined. So if they have their sacral defined, you know automatically they're going to be either a generator or a manifesting generator.
Are you talking about like how can you just cold read somebody or like get a good warm read?
Without looking at their chart, not looking at their chart, or just okay. So that gets into the idea of really tuning in with your body. So right now we're in what's called a wah. We're not really gonna, we have all of the chart right now. Every single one of us has all of the chart right now, okay? Because we're taking in everything from everybody else, right? But
When we're split.
all right, so
Oh, perfect.
have
Okay,
you
perfect.
found
Yeah, yeah.
whether or not you are a single definition person? Are you single definition? Yeah. So what that means is that all of your defined centers are all interconnected with each other. They're part of the same island, if you will. So like your root and spleen and throat may be all connected to each other. They're all part of the same thing. I'm saying single definition people. Yeah, single definition. So if you're a single definition, you are kind of your own enclosed ecosystem. You can process through information really quickly. You can, move. You don't really need another person to process with, unless you want to be social, fine, whatever. I process things with people sometimes, but I'm a single definition. So you can spend a lot of time alone and not really feel the need to be with other people. So can you see how that would affect your relationships? Romantic relationships, friendships. If you are a single definition and you're kind of like, I don't really, like a lot of times single definition people will be single and be okay. And that's okay. If they are in relationship, that other person needs to understand that about them. That they just kind of are their own thing and doing their own thing. Don't need a whole lot of input, don't need a whole lot of process time. Is that resonating with the single definition people? Yes, yes, yes. So,
Working with a Claude AI,
say that again?
working with an AI, is that considered still single?
Well, so I would argue that AI does not have a chart in human design.
So then it's okay because it's not a.
That would be interesting. I actually think that AI is a reflector, and I have a lot of theories behind that. But anyway, so resonating with the single definition people, right? Okay. So we're going to move on to what's called a split definition. Okay. Super fun, happy time. All right. So if you're a split definition,
How are you?
what that means is that you have two different islands of centers defined, and they are not connected to each other. Okay? So sometimes that's hard to differentiate when more complex charts come into, you see more complex charts. But to make it as simple as possible, and I'll do a little, oh my God, I don't know how to.
Do you want me to rotate that?
No, maybe eventually. So say for instance you have like this channel defined down here from the root to the spleen. That is considered one island, right? One island of centers that are connected. And then say up here you have your head and ajna connected and they're defined, however you want to. So say for instance you only have those two channels and they are way far apart from each other, right? So your spleen and root are defined, and then your head and ajna are defined, and everything else in between is undefined. Okay? That would be considered a split definition. That would be actually a wide split. There's like a small, simple split, medium split, and wide split. Won't get into that. But anyway, so with a split definition, can we raise hands if you know if you're a split? And I'm not talking about triple or quad split, just split definition, just that. Yeah, we have quite a few splits here. So a split can have, what's interesting about a split definition is that because those islands of centers are not connected to each other, they feel there is something missing inside of them, and somebody else needs to fill it. So they will go out, like, they're the ones that are like, I need to go to a coffee shop. They don't like to be in the house by themselves because it feels as though something is missing within them. There's some kind of energy. They're like, if I just had this, everything would work. Right? Right? Is this resonating with split definition people? Yes?
Now, can you grow out of that as you get older?
I would say not,
Really?
but you can learn to work with it.
Yeah.
You can learn to work with it. And it's not that, none of this is either negative or positive. If you're having a mental frustration around needing that in your life, that's something to look at. Of why are you shaming yourself for needing that? That's not wrong. It's just how you're designed. And that's okay. You're just using it to your advantage. Like, if you are a split definition, you need other people to process. You don't process things as quickly by yourself. You need to go out with other people to process things with you. You need to go out to a coffee shop. You'll start noticing if you're in a coffee shop, you'll process things quicker. Like you'll digest and understand concepts quicker when you're out with other people, because they're more than likely hooking up and creating wholeness between your defined centers that are not talking to each other. Okay? So you see how that affects your relationships, right? Because if you have a split definition, say if it's a wide split, and it takes a lot of different gates to connect those centers together, you're going to need a lot of other people and interaction, right? Questions?
I can see how the mechanics of this can like kind of define or kind of, give way to your personalities and all. So are split personalities more extroverted, or was it single more introverted in general?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. While I love Jung, I kind of feel like introversion and extroversion are a little outdated, especially within the context of human design. I don't know quite how to explain that more, but you can still be somewhat of like a introverted person and be a split definition and just go to a cafe, knowing you need to hook up with those different energies, but you may not want to interact with others. That might be possible. I'm a single definition, but I don't know if I want to get into this, but with the transit sometimes I'm a split definition and I can feel when that's happening. So I need to go out when that's happening. I feel that pull when that's happening. But I'm pretty attuned to the transits to be able to notice when that's happening and know what I need to do when that's happening.
Okay, before
Yeah.
So technically we do end at 8:30. We absolutely have to be out of here at 9. So
Okay.
so
What
just
time is it?
it is 8:30. So
Oh my
people
God.
people are enjoying themselves.
Okay. Holy Stromboli.
So totally just a time check. It is 8:30. So if you do need to go, like, it's been pretty awesome you being here. I'll send out an email with Ellie's information as well as the Human Design group. If you want to ever show up and geek out, they get together once a month and talk about this stuff. And there's a special projectors group too. So,
yes. So if you want to learn more about human design and meet up with other people that are into it, me and a bunch of nerds get together once a month on First Fridays and talk about human design. Look up on Facebook, Human Design Austin. Please answer the questions so I know you're not a bot, because we get a lot of bots coming in. So just that we know you're a person. And what?
yeah, it'll be included
Yes.
in the email,
Yes.
and everyone should be on the list. Most people are on the list.
And if you're interested, I obviously do readings. I do foundation readings. So we look at your chart in a holistic narrative. We look at all of the elements together and create a holistic kind of story about who you are energetically and how to move through life and why your relationships are like they are, or why your job is like it is. I have a QR code back here that goes to my website. It's unearthedbydesign.com. So if you're interested, the QR code, and there's a promo code under there. If you book tonight, you get 10% off of your reading. So I do foundation readings, I do substructure readings. I do not self readings that go into the deep psychology of your shadows and not self, which is super fun. And then I do transit readings as well. So a lot of the deeper stuff, get a foundation reading first.
And
First
if
and foremost.
and that'll be included in the email if Ellie lets it extend to 24, 48 hours.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
promo code can exist for that long too.
Yeah,
So that'll be
promo
in the
code is
email.
good.
Cool.
Like emotional people, if you need to sleep on it, sleep on it. You don't have to book right now. Work with your authority. Take some time if you need to. Anyway, but just wanted to offer that to everybody.
So let's start thinking about kind of closing remarks for
Yeah.
this, and then people can continue asking questions and socialize and all that
I
stuff.
do quickly want to talk about triple and quad split. Are there any triple split people in here? Okay, we got a couple of triple split people. So triple splits, they need a lot of variety. They may feel like they have multiple parts of them and that no one person can ever fulfill all of those different parts of them and stimulate them, all those different parts of them in the same way. So they might get really frustrated. They need to go to multiple places maybe in a day to get all of that stimulation from the different aspects of who they are. So they're gonna have 3 different islands that are not connected to each other, right? So they need a lot of input. They need a lot of people around them. It's similar to a split, but it's gonna feel much more dynamic. You're gonna have a lot of different kind of parts to you, roles that you play that you think that, oh, I'm with this person and they're connecting with this part of me. I'm with this person and it's a whole other thing that's like not even connected to this thing over here, right? Do we have and for triple and quad split people, it's going to be more important what centers you have undefined than it is for the bridge gates, which I didn't even go into. Whoopsie. I realized
That's okay.
we're running out of time. But anyway, so your undefined centers are going to be like where most of your not self thoughts are going to go to. And quad split people is the same thing. Very rare to have a quad split. Do we actually have a
Yeah.
quad split in here that has 4 different islands that are not connected to each other? Yeah, they're like 1% of the population. Are you quad split? It should say somewhere in, if you're in neutrino design, it should say somewhere in there what your splits are. And if you're triple split or quad split. But similar thing to triple split with quad split. Are you a quad split? No, okay.
What was that?
Yeah. So similar kind of thing with triple split and quad split. Like they just need a lot of interaction with people. They need a lot of stimulation. They need to have a very dynamic kind of life where they're mixing up with different kinds of groups of people. And it's going to be a challenge for them to actually process things by themselves on their own. It takes them a long time actually to process a lot of different things, emotional kind of stuff, psychological kind of stuff. And for them, it's also really important to look at, more than likely, they're just going to have one center or no centers undefined. Quad split will have either 8 or 9 centers defined. So they're going to be very fixed in who they are and not be very flexible with that, but need a lot of interaction and dynamism in their relationships. So, yeah.
Okay, any parting thoughts about
Yeah.
How do we add other people to?
Yeah.
Me?
So if you're in neutrino design, if you look on the very bottom left corner, it'll say
other
file?
charts, right?
Yeah. Hang on. What is it? What does it say? It'll say library. It'll say library. So you add other people in that library section, and if you pay for it, you can add like unlimited people. If you don't, I guess however many in the trial that you can do.
Add their information,
Yeah.
name and date of birth?
Yeah, so you'll need their name, date of birth, time of birth, and location to get their whole chart. But yeah, then you can start playing around with like composites and all of that kind of stuff.
Here, Ellie, why don't I take the mic? And
Yeah.
we'll kind of close up since people are beginning to take off. First off, thank you so much for Ellie for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. again, I will send her her info out so we all have access to that. This has been a lot of fun, and I mean, how many people learn something new about themselves, or yeah, okay.
That's the most important thing.
Okay, sweet, cool.
And reinforce what we already knew about
and-
ourselves.
Yes.
It's wild how much it can reinforce
Yes.
what you already know. And there is a cool thing in the Neutrino app that I was hoping we could play with, but we really did need to get into like all the fundamentals.
Sorry.
Where you can actually add somebody else's chart and then bring you two together. And Neutrino will tell you how you all get along, what channels and things you activate for each other. Somebody might complete you if you're a split. And so there's a lot of fun things that we can do. And maybe if people stick around, we can actually kind of goof off and do a little bit of that. But for now, I just do want to kind of karmically close and kind of send people off. But then whoever wants to stay around and socialize, again, we do have to be out in 15 to 20 minutes out of respect for the space.
Dang.
But to close out, let's just tune in quickly. I always like to clear karma, even though tonight was a little more bubbly than some of the energy stuff we do. Oh, and next week, by the way, we're doing Om chanting, and there's a person leading a non-dual meditation before that. So it's going to be fun, and I don't know if it'll be here or if another space will open itself up by then. So just be on the list. I will make an announcement, and thank you for playing along with these wonderful growing pains we're going through. So so in order to just clear karma for tonight, you can just imagine in your mind's eye, there are the words karma. The word karma is spelled out in big block letters, representing all the energy that's been exchanged and moved and all that good stuff tonight. And that energy, those block letters just find a way of disappearing, returning back into the ether. It could be like you have like one of those magic erasers that as it moves around it, it just kind of disappears. It might just kind of break apart into stardust. Might be something else for you. And then once you do that, bring in a golden sun above your head again. Write your name in black magnetic ink, claiming it for your own. Have that crack over your head, filling you up with that golden energetic essence that is you. Again, bringing you back more into energetic alignment for this life. And how great is it that you get a little bit more awareness of your energetic alignment through the human design model. And that golden sun can set down through your space. And thank you for being here tonight. And yeah, so that's it for tonight. But we will show people how to do the composites if you want to compare charts with each other and see who completes you in magical ways. So anyhow, thanks so much for coming, y'all. And what a fun night. So.
Thank you.